Hey everybody, Bernard Bull talking about faithful and flourishing Christian schools, because that's the whole purpose of this YouTube channel. That's the only thing I really talk about is different aspects of what it means to be a faithful and flourishing Christian school. And I want to talk today about mission. And I've talked about this in prior videos about having a mission. And it's not a mission statement. It's very different from that. If you don't know the difference between a mission statement and a mission as I talk about it, go check out that other video, or you can always pick up the Faithful and Flourishing book as well. But I want to talk about a we mission. Because here's the thing, sometimes people talk about mission and you have your board on board with the mission, you have your leadership team on board with a mission, but it hasn't really, it's not really something that's embraced by a large group of the faculty, or the students are completely unaware of the mission, or there's some kind of disconnect at some stage. One of those groups of key stakeholders or community members, they're not a part of it. And one of the things that faithful and flourishing Christian schools do is they intentionally cultivate a we mission. That your goal is over time to get more and more and more people on board with the mission. In fact, one of the questions that I get asked a lot about a faithful and flourishing Christian school is, how many people do you need on board with a mission and for it to be a faithful and flourishing Christian school? And there's no mathematical answer to this. I don't have a perfect answer, but one thing that I can tell you is the more the better. And ideally you're aiming for 100%. You want people to be uniform on the things that matter the most. Yes, there can be lots of room for individuality and different styles and personalities and other things like that, but on the mission, on the fundamental reason for existence and what you're trying to accomplish together, that's a we mission. It's just like Olympic rowing. Imagine a group of Olympic rowers where each person decides, I want to row at my own cadence. I mean, it takes one rower. You could have your weakest rower in the entire boat, just one person rowing out of sync one time to lose the race, right? Olympic rowing requires people to row in absolute synchronicity and to do that in unison. And that's what we're looking for with the mission, is that you want people who are rowing in sync. You want people who are doing this together. Again, I'm not trying to take away room for individuality and differences for people. Those are critically important and valuable. You want to celebrate those unique gifts and personality traits that God's granted to different individuals, and you can do that. But when it comes to the mission, that's not the time for creativity. The mission is what we hold in common. It'd be like being a store that, maybe you're a company that builds bicycles, and there's one person that says, yeah, bicycles are nice, but I really like to build drums. So I'm going to build drums, you guys build bicycles. I'm sorry, but that just doesn't work, right? You have, and maybe I guess a company could decide to become a drum and bicycle company, but that needs to be a shared decision. That needs to be a we decision. Maybe you become a bicycle with a drum on it, and that's a particular product. Okay, maybe there's room for that. But you get the idea, the absurdity of trying to be an organization where people are not on the same fundamental path. And think about this with schools. People say, well, you can't really be that way in schools, can you? Absolutely you can. You say, well, we're all here for the education of kids. Yes, but what kind of education? Toward what end? What's the purpose? And if you're trying to educate them toward completely different ends, and you have people that are competing, students are going to be confused. Parents are going to be confused. People are not going to know what they're going to feel betrayed. They're going to feel like, wait a second, you promised me this and I got something else. There's going to be a lot of complexity to that. There will be a lot of problems, and the school will likely suffer, and it will probably suffer financially and enrollment over time as well if you don't have a we mission and you don't have you're not taking the time to try to cultivate that we mission. So this is a little shorter video here for you today, but that one is really important. Something that I'm sure we'll probably talk about over and over again in different ways. All right, thanks everybody.